I'm Chef Reactions, and I'm in the home of country music, hot chicken, and apparently every bachelorette party that's ever happened. Welcome to Nashville.
It's a chef reaction. Monotone infraction. 10 out of 10. I eat the whole damn thing. It's a chef reaction.
This was my first time in Nashville, and I was invited to stay at the Fairlane Hotel for a comp stay, which is always good. Like, I'm not the one to turn down free shit, you know what I mean? The hotel itself was very clean, well appointed, and had a nice mix of modern and classic design, and also conveniently located downtown. Like, it was pretty much close to everything. Despite all of this, I will say that the hotel was severely understaffed. There were times when it was like a legit ghost town, you know? Like, I fully expected some fucking tumbleweeds to roll by. It felt more like a condo building versus a hotel, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but I'd give it a 7 out of 10. For our first meal, we went to Peg Leg Porker, which is located in the Gulch district of Nashville between Music Row and downtown Nashville. It's a family-owned and operated business that's been smoking fresh meats daily since 2013. All the sides at Peg Leg are made from scratch, and they use local bakeries for their breads and desserts. Do not forget the wet wipes. We got a half rack of dry rubbed ribs with 2 sides, the mac and cheese and the beans. The ribs were tender, delicious. However, I'm not crazy about dry ribs in general. I prefer sauced ribs, something with a little tack to it. Doesn't mean they're bad, I just prefer saucy ones, but they were still very good. The sides were also made from scratch, as I said, and you can tell. Overall, I'd give it a 9 out of 10. We also got what they call Memphis Sushi, which is sliced kielbasa with sliced cheddar cheese, some hot peppers, and saltines. Straight up, this has become part of my snacking routine now. I love that shit. 10 out of 10.
About 20 minutes outside of Nashville at the famous Loveless Cafe. They've been serving up biscuits since 1951. I sound like fucking Guy Fieri. Let's go have some breakfast.
Most celebrities you can think of, and a bunch you've probably never heard of, have visited, and I bet not a ton has changed since opening. This place is a love letter to a classic, hearty Southern breakfast. Each meal starts with a plate of that's right, free biscuits that are light, fluffy, and delicious. Would recommend 10 out of 10. All that doesn't really matter because you get them for free, so. We got the country ham and egg breakfast, which was served with this hash brown casserole. We also got the chicken and waffle. Now, the chicken and waffle was good, but it wasn't anything to write home about. Like, if you've had chicken and waffles before, you've had this dish. This hash brown casserole, though, was dynamite. Hash browns, sour cream, cheddar cheese, French onion soup. It sounds like a TikTok recipe, but trust me, it's delicious. The ham was a little thin and a little dry, but the red-eye gravy had a nice kick to it from the coffee. Overall, I give the Loveless Cafe an 8.5 out of 10. Would recommend. There's also a little country market attached where you can get various jams and jellies and spreads and syrups and batters and lions and tigers and bears. Oh my, they don't actually sell lions or tigers or bears. I didn't see any bears there, but you could get peanut brittle if you're into that. Or goo-goo clusters. Goo-goo clusters are an original Nashville treat. We had some of those at the airport. They were pretty good. There are also these little games scattered throughout the property, which is good if you'd like to test your skill or become infuriated at a very simple task, like me. After breakfast, we were headed to Franklin, Tennessee, and everybody said we had to take the scenic drive and take the Natchez Trace Parkway, which we did. Very nice drive.
Stopped at historic Franklin, Tennessee. I'll voice over some historic facts because I'm stupid and I don't know anything about it. But it's like a nice old southern charmy town. You can walk around. I mean, we're not going to walk around too much because it's fucking hot as fuck, but one could walk around if you were so inclined.
Franklin was the site of the Battle of Franklin on November 30th, 1864. And if you're wondering how I know that, simple, I Googled it. Franklin is also home to the largest small-town police station I've ever seen. There's like 3 Costco's, I swear. We stopped at Mary D's Bread Basket before heading back to the hotel. I recommend you try the chess pie, grab a coffee, and don't forget to take advantage of the free parking across the street. After that, it was time to go back to the hotel, freshen up, watch some drunk people on a bus, and then head on down to Centennial Park where we wanted to check out the Parthenon.
We're at Centennial Park here in Nashville. We're at the Parthenon, which is an exact replica of the Parthenon.
Say Parthenon again, dummy.
If you come to a place like this or any historical landmark or whatever, or you know what, fucking anywhere, and you just leave your garbage laying around like this, you're a fucking piece of shit, straight up.
That message was brought to you by The Environment. For dinner, we were fortunate enough to go to Audrey, which is Chef Sean Brock's flagship restaurant that he named after his grandmother. Right away, you're immersed with the smells of fresh cut wood and the sounds of crickets, and surrounded by art that gets switched out every couple months. Audrey focuses on sourcing high-quality, fresh local ingredients and using them to showcase Appalachian cuisine in a modern context. We got the feast, which is a family-style feast, obviously, for $75 a person. Started off with a couple mocktails, which included this strawberry wine, which was incredible. 10 out of 10. Starting any meal with a hot skillet of cornbread is a win for me as far as I'm concerned.
I'm going to finish this off by pouring hot ham fat.
So just straight up ham fat?
Just straight up ham fat. Absolutely.
Straight Up Ham Fat is the name of my In Excess cover band, by the way. I don't know why I picked In Excess. It was just the first band that came to my mind, which, I don't know. That's kind of weird, right? Because they're an Australian band from like the 80s, and this is a southern restaurant from today. Anyway, the meal was very well thought out, which you'd expect nothing less from Sean Brock, and everything was going very smoothly. Yep, the power went out for about half an hour, but everybody in the kitchen and front of house kept their cool. They killed all the fires, made sure there was no smoke in the dining room, and continued to pump out beverages and cold food to keep the guests happy. I don't think anybody got up and left either. It's very rare when you can eat in a fine dining establishment and still get that home cooked feeling, and that's what it felt like dining at Audrey. Like every dish felt like a hug from grandma, you know? Like not my grandma because she's not from the South, but like a grandma, you know? We were smack dab in the middle of asparagus season, and this dish was the perfect example of it. 10 out of 10. Absolutely phenomenal. For dessert, we had this warm Benny and blueberry cake. Benny is actually like sesame seed adjacent, so it's got a nice little nuttiness to it. Very nice. Would recommend. We were also given this frozen pawpaw custard. I had no idea what pawpaw was. It's a fruit, but I thought it was just like a name for grandpa. And when they said pawpaw custard, I obviously made a disgusting joke in my mind. I was fortunate enough to get a tour of the library upstairs as well as the research and development areas where Sean Brock comes up with all his dishes. Upstairs at Audrey is also June, which is their 16-course tasting menu, which I really want to go do that next time. If you're in Nashville or if you're going to Nashville, go to Audrey. I recommend it. 10 out of 10. For breakfast the next day, we went to the hotel restaurant, Union Teller, which is located in the lobby. You can get various breakfasts, coffees. I think they do lunch as well. I'm not sure because most of the times when we went to grab something from there, like a coffee for the road or whatever, they were closed despite saying that they were open. Like there was just nobody there, which was, you know, kind of par for the course for this hotel in general. Got an iced coffee, bottle of OJ, bacon, egg, and cheese on Sesame, and cream cheese on an everything bagel. And look, everything was fine. Like it's a hotel lobby restaurant. I don't really have too much expectations going into something like that, but it's there for convenience. The bagels were a little on the dense side for me, but yeah, you can tell by that reaction. They were okay. You know, maybe that shrug indicates that surprisingly so. Okay, absolutely. It's just bars. It's just bars and bars and bars and bars and bars. Before lunch, we went to Pin's Mechanical Company, which is like a big ass arcade located in the Gulch district. There are dozens of classic pinball machines for only 25 cents. All the arcade machines are free, as well as a bunch of other games like Jenga, Ring Toss, and like, I don't know, a bunch of other stuff. It's a great place to bring your kids while you drink. For lunch, we went to Hattie B's for some Nashville chicken. And look, I know people are going to say, should have went to Prince's, should have did this, should have did that. I have 48, maybe 72 hours max whenever I go somewhere. And I was invited to go to Hattie B's. And as I said earlier, I don't turn down free anything. We were given pretty much everything on the menu, despite me specifically saying like, don't. Just give me a couple things, play me the hits, whatever. But they just kept feeding me and feeding me and feeding me. That's a Wu-Tang reference. That cheese sauce was delicious, by the way. You can tell by my response very shortly. Yeah, if you're a lip reader, you can tell what I said there. The chicken was delicious and the sides were tasty as well. But like one thing that I really want to say is our host, her name was Audrey, and she was, oh, actually, hold on a second. These were kind of dense, these waffles. I wasn't crazy about them. Audrey was one of the most efficient, pleasant, and all-around great restaurant workers I've ever seen. If I were still working in restaurants, I would have poached her immediately. And Audrey, if you're out there, I hope you see this, and I hope you hear this, and I hope you continue to do what you've been doing, because you were just incredible. We got every level of heat, including hot. We actually got hotter than hot, which was called Shut the Cluck Up, which we'll be getting to very shortly. But the hot was hot. They weren't kidding around, yeah. Everything was delicious, but honestly, like at this point, I was starting to get food drunk. Like I was borderline delirious after trying all of these things. I should mention that there are also locations in Birmingham, Atlanta, Memphis, and Vegas. So if you're in any of those cities other than Nashville and you want to try some hot chicken, give it a try. After some coercing, I was convinced to try Shut the Cluck Up, which is their hottest flavor. I'm not the best with heat. I like spicy food, but I don't have the tolerance that other people have. There was a nice table of ladies behind, or in front, I guess I should say at this point, that were laughing at me while I was trying this, and then I offered to cut them each a piece and have them try it, and I assure you the laughing stopped quick. Despite this being spicy as all hell, it still had a good flavor to it, which was surprising. Like usually when things are like a million Scoville, they're just so hot and they don't taste like anything other than Satan's piss. But in this case, it was very tasty. Also gave us a banana pudding as well as a peach cobbler. The cobbler did nothing. The cobbler, it does nothing. It just made my mouth burn even more. That was my mistake, though. I should have had some dairy or something. Banana pudding was very tasty, though. Both these desserts were very good. For like a quote-unquote fast food place, I'd give them both a solid 8 out of 10. Overall, I would give Hattie B's a 9 out of 10. And I would love to come back, and probably will go back when I'm in Vegas. But I will try Prince's next time. I guarantee it. Across the street, you've got Bobby's Dairy Dip, which has been open since 1951. It was hot as shit, and there was like 40 people in line, so I wasn't having that. For dinner, we were supposed to go to a restaurant called Ellington's, which is located in the Fairlane Hotel. The hotel actually arranged a dinner reservation on the Sunday evening. However, what they forgot to tell me was they weren't open on Sundays. So luckily, I had Michael Cudlitz, who you may know as Abraham from The Walking Dead. He reached out and said, hey, P.S., I own like a little speakeasy type place in Nashville, so why don't you come through and check it out? And that's what I did. Red Phone Booth is an intimate speakeasy/cigar bar that serves craft cocktails, wood-fired pizzas, and other shareable bites. The pizza is actually surprisingly good. I'd give it an 8 out of 10. My man AJ here was super knowledgeable about cigars. I'm a smoker, unfortunately, but I've never been much of a cigar guy, to be honest, so I left it to him to pick me out a fatty to smoke. The exhaust system at the Red Phone Booth is top-notch, so don't think that you're going to be sitting in just clouds of smoke. I got a little tour, and AJ let me know that there are multiple locations across the country, so don't be afraid to check them out. Would recommend. Like I said, I didn't have a ton of time in Nashville, but I did enjoy the time that I spent there. The Southern hospitality is definitely a real thing, let me tell you. Like all the places I visit for the first time, I felt a bit overwhelmed and definitely want to come back and experience more of what Nashville has to offer. As always, thanks for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.
It's a chef reaction. Monotone infraction. 10 out of 10. I'd eat the whole damn thing. It's a